2.5 tonnes, shaped like a brick, self-converted into a home on wheels and now on display at the biggest car show in the UK. This is the story of taking my ex-delivery van to Rollhard. So this is the van I bought 2.5 years ago as a bog standard Transporter T6.1. And at that time, all I had was a dream and an empty bank account because I'd just spunked all my money into this heap of metal. Well, I actually had two dreams. Dream number one, build a campervan which I could travel around Europe in with my bike and my fiancée, which we've achieved and have lots of fun Europe trips. And dream number two, build a van which someone on the internet may say, that's kinda cool. Because nothing inflates the ego like lots of men behind keyboards giving you verbal fellatio about your van. And you know what inflates the ego even more? People thinking the van is that cool, it's eligible for display at the one and only Rollhard show. And I was shocked because I didn't think it'd be up to standard and I built the bloody thing. So yeah, that was it. The van was going to the Rollhard show, but was it ready for it? Of course it wasn't. That'd be too easy, wouldn't it? There are two main things which I do need to sort to the van before it goes to the Rollhard show. And number one is sorting the fitment of the wheels. When I fitted these wheels back in January, they completely transformed the look of the van and I was over the moon with them. But there was one little thing that has been bugging me slightly and it's been playing at my mind ever since. And I briefly mentioned this in the video when I fitted the wheels back in January. And that is the fitment. I mean, it's good, but it's not perfect. And I wanted it perfect. So there is no better time to rectify it than now. And seeing as the van is going to be on display at one of the biggest and best shows in the UK, I do want it to be perfect. So I've ordered these, two sets of wheel spacers, one for the front wheels and one for the rear wheels. Starting up front, I'm fitting these absolutely mammoth spacers. These are 3mm spacers which are going to do sweet FA. But I'm not fitting them to the front for stance because the front wheels are already as close as I'm going to get them. I'm fitting them for another reason. Every time I turn hard right or hard left on the van, I get some rubbing, which is expected on the van because it's that low. But the main rubbing is not coming from the tops of the arches, it's coming from the inner arch liners next to the suspension. And that is due to the new wheels being much, much wider. Now when I say it's very, very close to not rubbing, I really, really mean it. So fitting these 3mm spacers should bring the wheels out just enough that they don't rub, or don't rub as much anyway when I'm turning. Fitting wheel spacers is very easy, especially 3mm wheel spacers as they are so small. I just jack up the front of the van to remove the front wheels. When the wheels are off, you simply put the new spacers onto the hub face. And as these are 3mm spacers, long bolts are not required, so you can just refit the wheel back on using the original bolts. Some people say fitting spacers can make it harder as you've got to line the spacers and the wheel up, but I never found that issue. Once the wheel is on, the van can be dropped down and all my hard work can be admired, because it looks like I've done nothing. But hopefully the changes will be noticeable when we go driving. Right, now to do the rears, where we should hopefully see a much bigger change. On the rear, I'm fitting 15mm spacers, as from taking a few measurements, this should fill the arches nicely without causing any rubbing issues. Because I've just tried to fix rubbing on the front, so we don't want to bring it onto the rear. The fitting process is identical to the fronts, but due to these being 15mm spacers, new wheel bolts will be required. This is because the amount of distance between the wheel and the hub is increasing, so the original bolts will not thread into the hub a sufficient amount. And if you don't have enough threads in the hub as you're driving down the motorway, say goodbye to your wheels. I've got a set of 50mm long wheel bolts to use, as these are 15mm longer as what comes on standard. And 15mm spacers and 15mm longer bolts should mean we get the same amount of threads as what was there originally. And with the wheel bolts tightened up, the van can be dropped down to the ground. Now that is the difference I was hoping for. Here is a quick comparison so you can see just how much the wheels have stepped out. What a difference this has made to the overall stance. It's just tied the whole stance together. Right, moving on swiftly to issue number two, because this one's going to take a little bit longer to fix. And that is fixing this paintwork, and for good this time. About a year ago I had to go sorting the paintwork, and it helped a little bit, but not loads. It still wasn't in the best condition. But I've been out and bought myself a new toy, and that is a DA. If you don't know what one of these is, it's a dual action polisher, and it allows you to quickly and easily work in polish to the paintwork to get a very nice finish. But we can't start with a DA straight away, can we? That would be a recipe for disaster. First things first, let's give the van a good clean, starting off with the wheels and then giving the whole van a spray with a pre-cleaner. Then moving on to snow foam and then applying shampoo through a snow foam lance, as it always gives a really nice coverage of the shampoo all over the van. Now the shampoo is going to be worked into the paintwork with a mitt to try and get all the stubborn bits of dirt off. And finally making sure the van is dry, ready for the next stage. And that stage being the clay bar. I'm going to go around the van to get the really stubborn bits off the paintwork using a clay lube and clay bar and then drying after with a clean microfiber cloth. And then finally, the bit I've been waiting for, time to polish. I do small sections of the panel at a time, working in polish with the DA. I'm using a single stage polish, as a 3-stage polish on a vehicle this size would take an eternity. And the paintwork being a non-metallic paintwork means it doesn't really need a 3-stage polish. The fact that paintwork is non-metallic paint has its positives because you never really get any swirl marks, or any visible swirl marks should I say. There's definitely still going to be some there. So the whole purpose of polishing is to try and get rid of some of the bigger and more noticeable marks. Here is a side-by-side comparison between the same panel. Now I know this is a white van, so it's hard to see, but I was very surprised with how much difference this actually made. To finish up trying to make the van look pretty, I went around the whole van with a spray wax and treated the bumpers and tyres to a trim restorer to bring out the blackness of the bumpers. You know, really make the commercial look pop. And with that, the van is ready for Rollhard. So when that sunny morning came, we could drive down to Bicester, stressing the whole way about the van getting dirty after I'd just spent hours and hours cleaning it. But we got there and the van was still clean, so it was time to enjoy the show. A little bit about the show then. As expected, it was top quality. The cars on display were some of the best collection I've ever seen. There was such an interesting mix of cars, all expressing their owners' creativity and individuality in their own way. And that's what I love about shows like these. Even though I bashed on about ego at the start, there is no ego there. Everyone is there because they have a love and passion for modifying cars to be a representation of them. And you can really see that passion being showcased and represented in the builds which are on display. But I think that's enough waffling from me now. I'll leave you to enjoy the next few minutes of some of the best cars in the UK at one of the best locations for a car show in the UK. Enjoy.
You change.